Picture this. It is 3 in the morning. You are deep in a wonderful dream, probably about winning the lottery. Suddenly, you hear it. A long, drawn-out, desperate yowl that sounds like an emergency siren mixed with a crying baby. You stumble out of bed, stub your toe on the doorframe, and blindly navigate to the kitchen, convinced your precious feline is literally starving to death. You turn on the light, rubbing your sleepy eyes, only to find that your cat's food bowl is completely full, except for a tiny, microscopic empty spot right in the dead center. And there sits your cat, looking up at you with huge, judgmental eyes, as if you have committed the ultimate betrayal. Sound familiar? We have all been victims of this late-night furry terrorism. But it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Do you ever ask yourself, is my cat doing this just to spite me? Did my cat's brain just completely break? Are they actually broken? Well, my fellow cat parents, today I am going to reveal the absolute mind-blowing truth about this bizarre behaviour. Spoiler alert, they do not think you are simply feeding them. Their brain is processing something entirely different. Drop a comment right now and tell me the name of your little furry hooligan who wakes you up for snacks. Before we dive into the juicy secrets of the feline mind, we need to set the stage and look at where these ridiculous, beautiful creatures actually came from. You see, when you look at your fluffy little princess or Mr. Whiskers sleeping belly up on your expensive velvet sofa, it is incredibly easy to forget what they truly are. Underneath that soft fur and those cute little toe beans lies the DNA of a fierce, solitary, desert-dwelling apex predator. Yes, your cat is basically a tiny lion that lives in your house rent-free. Thousands of years ago, the African wildcat, which is the ancestor of all our modern house cats, survived in harsh environments where every single meal was a matter of life and death. They were solitary hunters, meaning they did not have a pack to rely on. If they did not catch the mouse, they did not eat. Period. This intense survival pressure hardwired some very specific and frankly quite weird behaviours into their brains. Evolution takes millions of years, but domesticating cats only started a few thousand years ago. In evolutionary terms, that is just a blink of an eye. So, while we have changed their environment from the harsh desert to a climate-controlled apartment with a self-cleaning litter box, we have not completely changed their wild, predatory software. They are running ancient jungle programming on modern living room hardware. And this clash of worlds is exactly why feeding time gets so incredibly complicated and hilarious. Let us start with the most classic cat-parent mystery of all time: the empty center of the bowl. You look at it and see a bowl that is 90% full of delicious, expensive kibble. Your cat looks at it, throws their head back, and screams like they have been wandering the Sahara Desert for 40 days and 40 nights without a single crumb of sustenance. Why on earth do they do this? Are they just being total drama queens? Well, yes, but there is an actual medical and psychological reason for it. It is called whisker fatigue, and it is completely real. A cat's whiskers are not just cute facial decorations. They are highly sensitive, deeply rooted tactile sensors packed with nerve endings. They're like a high-tech radar system that helps them navigate in the dark and feel changes in air currents. When you put their food in a deep, narrow bowl, their incredibly sensitive whiskers constantly smash against the hard sides of the ceramic or plastic every time they take a bite. Imagine if every time you tried to eat a piece of pizza, someone vigorously rubbed sandpaper on your face. It is overwhelming, overstimulating, and physically uncomfortable for them. So when they eat the food in the center, they hit a point where reaching the edges just hurts too much. In their mind, the food on the sides doesn't even exist anymore. They aren't asking for more food. They are begging you to fix the painful geometry of their dining experience. Now, let us talk about how your cat actually views you during mealtime. We humans like to think of ourselves as the gracious providers, the masters of the house who go to the magical grocery store to bring back a bounty for our beloved pets. We think our cats look up to us with gratitude. I hate to break it to you, but your cat does not see you as a provider. According to top animal behaviorists, cats most likely view humans as large, clumsy, hairless cats who are inexplicably terrible at hunting. They see us trip over rugs, drop things, and generally stumble through life without the grace of a feline. So, when you open a can of wet food or pour out kibble, your cat doesn't think, "Ah, my human has purchased food." Their wild instincts tell them, "Wow, the giant, stupid, hairless cat in my colony somehow managed to find a dead animal in that weird metal cylinder." They genuinely think you are just a fellow colony member sharing your kill. And because they think you are such an incompetent hunter, they often feel the need to supervise you. This is why they weave between your legs and scream while you open the can. They are basically cheering you on, saying, "Hurry up, giant baby, before another predator steals the weird cylinder meat you magically found." Have you ever noticed that your cat will scream for food, lead you to the bowl, take one bite, and then look up at you? And if you try to walk away, they stop eating and follow you, only to lead you right back to the bowl? This is one of the most misunderstood behaviors in the cat world. You might think they are just being annoying or want you to literally hand feed them like Roman emperors. But what your cat is actually demanding is a bodyguard. In the wild, eating is the absolute most vulnerable time for a solitary predator. When a wild cat has its face buried in a fresh catch, it cannot see a larger predator, like a coyote or an eagle, sneaking up behind it. It is a moment of extreme danger. So, when your cat drags you to the food bowl and refuses to eat unless you are standing right there, they are not just asking for company. They are trusting you with their life. They are saying, "Hey, giant hairless friend, I am going to put my head down now. Please watch my six and make sure nothing tries to assassinate me while I eat this salmon pate." They want you to stand guard. So the next time you get frustrated that you have to stand in the kitchen while they eat, just remember, it is actually the highest compliment a cat can give you. You are their trusted lookout. Let us discuss the temperature trap. This is a situation that drives cat owners absolutely up the wall. You buy the fancy, expensive canned food, you give them half a can for breakfast, and they devour it like it is the greatest thing on earth. You put the other half in the refrigerator to keep it fresh. At dinner time, you proudly take it out, put it in their bowl, and they take one sniff, give you a look of pure disgust, and walk away trying to literally bury the bowl with imaginary dirt. Why does yesterday's delicacy suddenly become today's toxic waste? Because of temperature. You see, your cat's brain is hardwired to eat freshly killed prey. A freshly caught mouse or bird is roughly the same temperature as a cat's body, warm and very aromatic. When you take a can of cat food out of a cold refrigerator, it does not smell like anything, and it is freezing cold to the touch. To a cat's ancient survival instincts, cold meat means the animal has been dead for a very, very long time. And eating an animal that has been dead for days is a great way to get severe food poisoning out in the wild. Your cat isn't being a spoiled brat. Their internal safety alarm is blaring red. They think you are trying to feed them rotting garbage. The simple fix? Just add a tiny splash of warm water to the cold food and stir it up. It warms it up, releases the meaty aromas, and suddenly you have transformed toxic waste back into a fresh, delicious kill. Here is a huge mistake that almost every single new cat owner makes, and they don't even realize how much stress it causes their furry friend. I am talking about the water bowl placement. If you buy one of those cute little double dish setups where the food bowl and the water bowl are attached side by side, you might be accidentally giving your cat daily anxiety. You might wonder why your cat constantly goes to the bathroom sink to drink from a dripping faucet, or why they drink from a dirty puddle outside, but ignore the pristine, filtered water right next to their food. Again, we have to look back at their wild ancestors. In nature, if a predator kills its prey near a natural water source, the blood and bodily fluids from the dead animal will contaminate the water, causing dangerous bacterial growth. Cats have evolved a deep, instinctual aversion to drinking water that is located right next to their food source. Their brain tells them, "Food is here, which means the water right next to it is polluted and will make me sick." When you place their water right next to their kibble, they think you are offering them a contaminated puddle. Try moving their water bowl to a completely different room, away from their food and their litter box. You will be absolutely amazed at how much more water they start drinking. They just want a safe, clean watering hole away from the kill site likes. Now, let us talk about a behavior that often offends humans deeply. The phantom burying. You serve up a nice scoop of premium food, and your cat walks up to it, sniffs it intently, and then starts frantically scratching the floor, the wall, or the cabinet next to the bowl. It looks exactly like the motion they use when they are covering up their business in the litter box. It is very easy for us to take this personally. We think, "Wow, okay, you are literally telling me my cooking is so bad it belongs in the toilet. Message received, you ungrateful fussball." But the truth is much less insulting and much more interesting. While sometimes a cat will bury food they genuinely dislike, most of the time, this is an instinct known as caching. In the wild, if a cat catches a large meal and cannot finish it all at once, leaving the leftovers out in the open is incredibly dangerous. The smell of the decaying meat will attract larger, more aggressive predators who might decide the cat is an excellent side dish. To protect themselves, wild cats will carefully bury their leftover food with dirt and leaves to mask the scent. So, when your cat starts scratching the tile floor next to their bowl, they actually think the food is great. They are just full, and their instincts are screaming at them to hide the evidence so a bear doesn't show up in your kitchen. They are just trying to keep the family safe. Smell defects a cat's entire reality. If you have ever had a sick cat with a stuffed-up nose, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A cat with a cold will literally starve themselves, sitting in front of a giant pile of fresh food because they refuse to eat. Why? Because for cats, if it does not smell, it is not food. Period. A human has roughly 5 million odor-sensitive cells in their nose. A cat has over 200 million. Their sense of smell is their primary way of interacting with the universe. When they approach the food bowl, they aren't just checking if it is chicken or beef. They are analysing the moisture content, the protein levels, and the exact state of decay. Now, think about dry kibble that has been sitting in a bowl all day while you are at work. To us, it just looks like dry food. But to a cat, after a few hours exposed to the air, the fats on the outside of the kibble begin to oxidize, and the smell completely dissipates. When they walk up to the bowl later in the evening and scream at you, they aren't being picky. In their minds, the bowl is full of flavourless, odourless pebbles. It has lost its identity as a food source. They are begging you to provide something that actually registers on their massive olfactory radar. A quick sprinkle of crushed treats or a tiny bit of warm water can reactivate the smell and magically turn those useless pebbles back into a feast. Have you ever experienced the "I am starving to death" drama immediately after you just fed them? You literally just watch them polish off a generous portion of food. You wash the spoon, turn around, and they are sitting by the empty bowl, looking frail and pathetic, giving you the softest, saddest meow possible. It is psychological warfare at its finest. You start doubting your own memory. Did I just feed them? Am I underfeeding them? Are they harbouring a tapeworm? The answer lies in their digestive biology. Cats have incredibly small stomachs, about the size of a ping-pong ball. Out in the wild, they do not eat a giant breakfast and a massive dinner. A cat's natural hunting rhythm involves catching and eating 8 to 15 small meals throughout the day and night. A mouse here, a cricket there, a small bird later. Their bodies are designed to process small amounts of protein constantly. When we force them into our human schedule of 2 large meals a day, it really messes with their internal rhythm. So when they beg for food 30 minutes after eating, they aren't trying to trick you. Their biological clock is simply telling them, "Okay, that was a good mouse. Now it is time to go hunt the next bug." They are asking you to initiate the next phase of the hunting cycle. This is why puzzle feeders and timed automatic dispensers are such a game changer for dramatic, hungry cats. Let's be real here. We think we are training our cats, but most of the time they are the ones running a masterclass in human manipulation. Feeding time is where their genius truly shines. Think about the Pavlovian response, the famous experiment where a scientist rang a bell and dogs learned to drool because they associated the bell with food. Well, cats have figured out how to do this in reverse. They have Pavloved us. Your cat does not think you are a magical food dispenser operating on a set clock. They think you are a slightly dense, large animal that can be programmed with specific auditory cues. Your cat noticed that one day they happened to meow in a certain high-pitched, desperate tone, and you immediately dropped what you were doing and opened a can of tuna. To the cat, this was a massive scientific breakthrough. They realized, if I press the sound button, the giant ape produces meat. So they refined it. They learn exactly which meow gets you out of bed. They learn exactly which pitch of scream makes you give them a treat just to shut them up during a Zoom meeting. They aren't just asking for food. They are actively pushing the buttons on the remote control that operates you. And honestly, we are totally powerless to stop it. We just smile, call them cute, and hand over the salmon. If you really want to understand the strange things cats do around their food bowl, we need to talk about texture snobbery. Have you ever bought that expensive wet food that has big chunks of meat swimming in a thick, savoury gravy? You serve it up, feeling like a 5-star chef. 5 minutes later, you look at the bowl. Your cat has expertly, surgically licked every single drop of the gravy, leaving the actual chunks of meat completely untouched, drying out into sad little cubes of waste. It is infuriating. But why do they do this? Are they just trying to waste your hard-earned money? Actually, it comes down to feline dentition, which is a fancy way of saying how their teeth are built. Cats do not have flat molars like humans or dogs do. They cannot grind their food. Their teeth are designed entirely for slicing meat and crunching bone. When it comes to wet, squishy chunks of processed food, they physically cannot chew it properly. It feels weird and unnatural in their mouths. But the gravy simulates the blood and fluid of a fresh hunt. I know, it sounds a little gross, but it is true. Licking the moisture is instinctually deeply satisfying for them. So they aren't just being snobs, they are consuming the part of the meal that feels most natural to their wild biology, and leaving the weird, unchewable, squishy blocks behind. Here is another classic bizarre feeding behaviour, the phantom prey game. You put the dry food in the bowl. Your cat approaches it, but instead of eating, they take their paw, hook a single piece of kibble, and bat it across the kitchen floor. Then they pounce on it, toss it in the air, chase it under the refrigerator, and eventually eat it. Then they go back to the bowl and do it all over again. You watch this and think, why are you making such a mess? Just eat from the bowl like a normal animal. But the concept of normal to a cat is hunting for their life. For indoor cats, life can get incredibly boring. They have all the instincts of a top-tier assassin, but zero targets to assassinate. When you present them with a static, non-moving bowl of food, it is physically nourishing, but mentally dead. It does not stimulate their brain. By knocking the kibble onto the floor and making it move, they are instantly transforming a boring pebble into a fleeing mouse. They are simulating the hunt to satisfy their psychological need to stalk and capture. They don't think you are feeding them. They think you have provided them with a pile of tiny, crunchy prey that they have to activate themselves. If your cat does this frequently, it is a massive sign that they are desperate for more interactive playtime before meals. Now, if you live in a multi-cat household, you know that feeding time can sometimes feel like you are managing a high-stakes hostage negotiation. You have 2 or 3 cats, and you provide plenty of food for everyone. But one cat always acts like they are starving, wolfing down their food and then trying to steal from the others, while another cat nervously takes one bite and runs away. What is happening here? You are witnessing the invisible hierarchy of the feline world. Even if they cuddle together and groom each other, there is a strict social ranking in your house. And to cats, food is the ultimate currency of power. The top cat controls the resources. When you put the bowls too close together, you are forcing them to eat in a tense, competitive environment. The dominant cat will give subtle signals, maybe just a hard restrain or a slight shift in posture, that tells the subordinate cat, "If you eat that, there will be consequences." The nervous cat doesn't think you are feeding them. They think you have just dropped them into a gladiator arena. They will act totally uninterested in food, not because they aren't hungry, but because eating is socially too dangerous at that moment. By simply moving their bowls to completely separate rooms, you break the line of sight, remove the social pressure, and suddenly, everyone eats in peace. Let us talk about the invisible freshness timer that exists purely inside your cat's mind. You pour a fresh scoop of dry food into their bowl at 8 a.m. They eat half of it and walk away happily. At 5 p.m., they come screaming at you, acting like they are famished. You point to the bowl, which is still half full of the exact same food they loved 9 hours ago. They look at the bowl, look at you, and scream louder. You sigh, scoop out the old food, throw it away, and pour new food from the exact same bag. Suddenly, they start eating like it is the best meal they have ever had. What kind of witchcraft is this? It all goes back to how they perceive safety. Once food hits the bowl, an invisible countdown begins. To a cat's ultra-sensitive nose, kibble sitting out all day gathers dust, absorbs weird smells from your cooking, and loses its fatty aroma. In the wild, eating a carcass that has been sitting in the sun all day is a death sentence. Their brain tells them that the old food is now a biological hazard. When you pour fresh food from the bag, it is like you have magically produced a brand new, uncontaminated kill. They aren't trying to waste your money. They are just strictly following the ancient health and safety guidelines programmed into their DNA. Location, location, location. We humans love convenience. We usually put the cat's food and water bowls wherever it is easiest for us. In a busy hallway, right next to the noisy washing machine, or tucked into a corner of the busy kitchen where everyone is walking by. And then we wonder why our cat grabs a mouthful of food, runs into the living room, drops it on the carpet, eats it there, and then runs back for another mouthful. It is frustrating to clean up, but their reasoning is actually brilliant. Think about it from their perspective. When a cat eats, they need to feel completely safe and secure. If their bowl is in a high-traffic area with loud noises and giant humans stomping past, their stress levels skyrocket. Every time the fridge door slams or someone walks by, their survival instincts flare up, warning them of incoming danger. They don't think you have created a nice dining area. They think you have forced them to eat in the middle of a busy highway. By grabbing the food and running to a quiet spot, they are taking their kill to a safe location where they can eat without the fear of being ambushed. If your cat is constantly dragging their food out of the bowl, try moving their feeding station to a quiet, low-traffic corner of the house. You will instantly see a calmer, happier feline. Have you ever considered the actual shape of the bowl you are using? We humans buy bowls based on aesthetics. We want the cute ceramic one with fish painted on the side, or the deep stainless steel bowl that holds a lot of food so we don't have to refill it as often. But the geometry of the bowl fundamentally alters your cat's reality. When a cat sticks their head deep into a narrow, high-sided bowl, two terrible things happen. First, as we discussed, their sensitive whiskers get crushed. But second, and perhaps more importantly, their peripheral vision is completely blocked. Cats are both predators and prey in the wild. They rely heavily on their wide field of vision to detect incoming threats. When their head is buried in a deep bowl, they are effectively blind to their surroundings. It induces a mild state of panic. They will take a hurried bite, quickly pull their head up to scan the room, and then nervously go back in for another bite. They don't view mealtime as relaxing. They view it as a high-stress, tactical mission. Switching from a deep bowl to a wide, shallow plate or a specialized flat feeding mat completely changes the game. Suddenly, they can eat without their whiskers touching anything while keeping a full view of the room. It turns a stressful event into a peaceful dining experience. Now, we have to talk about one of the weirdest and most misunderstood interactions between cats, food, and humans. The dead mouse offering. You know the scenario. You are sitting on the couch and your cat walks in with a stuffed toy mouse, a crumpled piece of paper, or, if you are really unlucky, an actual dead bug or rodent. They proudly drop it right next to their food bowl, or sometimes they even drop it directly into their water dish. Most people think the cat is just being messy or forgot where they left their toys. But this is actually a profound display of feline social behaviour. In a feral cat colony, females will often bring dead or stunned prey back to the den to teach their young how to eat or to provide for cats that cannot hunt. When your cat drops a kill near their food source, they are engaging in resource management. They are contributing to the family stash. They are essentially saying, "Listen, giant hairless cat, I see you struggling to catch anything. You just open cans. I have hunted this fierce fuzzy toy, and I am adding it to the colony's pantry so we don't starve." It is an act of deep bonding and care. So instead of getting annoyed when you find a soggy toy mouse in their water bowl, say thank you, because your cat is literally trying to pay the grocery bill. Let us take a moment to analyse the specific language of feeding time. Have you ever really listened to the sound your cat makes when they want food? It is completely different from the chattering sound they make at birds, or the low growl they make when they are angry. The "feed me" meow is distinct, urgent, and incredibly effective at getting you off the couch. Here is a wild fact. Adult cats in the wild almost never meow at each other. They communicate through body language, scent, and hisses. Meowing is a behaviour they retain from kittenhood, specifically to communicate with their mothers. But domestic cats realise something brilliant. They notice that human beings are highly responsive to vocalizations. More specifically, studies have shown that the frequency of a cat's "feed me" cry shares acoustic similarities with a human baby's cry. They literally hacked our biological software. Your cat doesn't think you understand cat language. They think they have discovered a specific sound frequency that forcefully triggers your maternal or paternal instincts to provide care. They know that if they hit that specific pitch, your brain is hardwired to respond with attention and resources. You aren't just feeding a pet. You are responding to an evolutionary psychological trick designed by a tiny genius. Let's dive into a messy reality of cat ownership: the scarf and puke. You put down a bowl of delicious food. Your cat attacks it like they have been trapped on a desert island for 10 years. They inhale the entire bowl in 30 seconds flat without even chewing. 2 minutes later, you hear that dreaded hork, hork, hork sound, and there goes the entire meal, deposited directly onto your most expensive rug. Why do they eat so frantically if they know it is going to make them sick? Are they just gluttons? No, this is another ghost of their wild past haunting your living room. In nature, when a small predator like a cat makes a kill, the clock starts ticking immediately. The smell of the fresh meat will instantly attract larger predators like coyotes, wolves, or larger wildcats. The rule of the wild is simple. Eat as fast as you physically can before someone bigger comes along to steal your food and possibly eat you too. Even though your cat lives in a safe, predator-free house, that ancient anxiety is still whispering in their ear. They don't think you are feeding them. They think they have a tiny window of opportunity to consume the calories before disaster strikes. Using slow feeder bowls or spreading their food on a lick mat forces them to slow down, mimicking the effort of picking meat off a bone, and stops the dreaded carpet surprises. Variety is the spice of life, right? We humans get bored eating the same thing every day. So, out of love, we buy our cats 10 different flavors of food. Monday is salmon, Tuesday is beef, Wednesday is duck. And then we wonder why they suddenly develop explosive diarrhea or start throwing up. We project our human desire for variety onto an animal whose digestive system absolutely despises change. A cat's gastrointestinal tract is highly specialized and adapts to digest a specific protein profile. When you constantly switch their food, their stomach flora gets completely thrown out of whack. But wait, you might say, my cat always begs for my human food. They clearly want variety. Ah, this is the great deception. When you are eating a piece of pizza or a sandwich, and your cat comes up sniffing intensely, pawing at your arm, they usually don't actually want to eat it. In a wildcat colony, the lower-ranking cats will carefully observe what the colony leader eats to ensure it is safe and not poisonous. Your cat considers you the strangest, largest member of the colony. When they beg for your food, they are often just conducting a safety inspection. They want to smell it to understand what the big, weird cat is consuming. If you actually put a piece of that pizza crust on the floor, 90% of the time, they will sniff it, look disappointed, and walk away. Finally, we reach the ultimate, heartwarming twist about why your cat acts so strange around feeding time. Sometimes all the screaming, the leg rubbing, and the drama have absolutely nothing to do with hunger at all. Have you ever filled their bowl, but they still refuse to eat until you bend down, stroke their back, and talk to them in a soft voice? As soon as you pet them, they start happily munching away, purring loudly. This is because, for many indoor cats, the act of you feeding them has transcended mere physical survival and has become their most important daily ritual of affection. In a world where they are confined to a few rooms, you are their entire universe. The food bowl is just the meeting point. They don't just want the calories, they want the interaction. They want the reassuring touch of their giant, clumsy, hairless roommate. It is a moment of deep bonding. When they scream at you for food, even when the bowl is full, they might actually just be saying, "Hey, I'm feeling a little insecure. Come stand by me. Tell me I am a good hunter, and let's share this moment of safety together." They don't just think you are feeding them. They think you are loving them. And honestly, that is exactly what you are doing. So, there you have it, friends. Your cat is not broken. They are not doing it to spite you, and they certainly are not stupid. Every bizarre meow, every phantom burying session, and every midnight screaming match is just their inner wildcat trying to survive in a modern world. Now you know exactly what is going on inside that beautiful, complicated, fluffy little head of theirs. Despite all the drama, the early wake-up calls, and the occasional vomit on the rug, we wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. We love our little weirdos, precisely because they are so uniquely themselves. If this video blew your mind or helped you understand your furry dictator a little better, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more feline secrets. And definitely share this video with another cat parent who needs to hear this. Now I want to hear from you. What is the weirdest, funniest thing your cat does right before they eat? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.